Greetings, everybody. I am the Starving Martian, and today I'd like to talk with you for a few minutes about the next Mars Attacks movie. Now, I have no insider information. I have not heard anything official or otherwise about there officially being a new Mars Attacks film in the works at all, but everything old is new again. Mars Attacks, at this point in history, has a lot of nostalgic value for those who saw it in the 90s when it first came out in the theaters. And it's gained quite the cult following. New Mars Attacks merchandise is being released still to this day. Just last year, we had a brand new card series. There's been miniature games. There's been comic books, none currently running, but within recent memory. And that there's enough buzz going around that it wouldn't surprise me at all if they eventually made another Mars Attacks movie. So I wanted to talk today about what I expect, what I would like to see, what we need to have in a new Mars Attacks movie, what we don't need to have in a new Mars Attacks movie. And I really want to open up the comment section here. I'm hoping that you guys will all take a minute to let me know whether you agree with me, disagree. What do you want to see in a Mars Attacks movie? Because I know what my feelings are on this, but I don't represent the entire fan base. I never claim to. I'm not going to say I'm completely 100% right or wrong on this either. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. So, first of all, let's quickly address the question of whether or not there even should be a new Mars Attacks movie. Ever since Ghostbusters came out a couple years ago, I've been very, very leery about remakes. Today's movie going experience is not what it was in 1996. The events that led to the creation of Mars Attacks, I don't think we're going to see duplicated today, which is you had a director, a talented, slightly demented director, who was more or less given free rein to do what he wanted within a certain budget. Today, you're going to have everything focus tested. You're going to have everything lined up in a row. There's definitely agendas in place in Hollywood that weren't so much in the forefront back in the day. And I have to say, if a Mars Attacks movie came out in the next couple years, I'd be very, very worried about it. I would definitely go to see it, but I would definitely also have my concerns. That being said, on the bizarre off chance that some Hollywood executive goes onto YouTube to say, hey, I'm going to make a new Mars Attacks movie, let's see what the fans actually want, and stumbles across this video. We're going to take a look at some trading cards from various series that depict, I think, what we need to have and what we need to exclude from the next Mars Attacks film. So, let's get the negative out of the way first. Let's take a look at some of the things we do not need in a new Mars Attacks film. Alright, an R rating. Now, I know some of you might disagree with me on this. The original card series was quite violent for its time. However, I do not believe the intent of the card series was to push the boundaries quite as far as an R-rated movie would allow. The problem with the R rating is that once everything goes, everything goes. And part of the charm of Mars Attacks, as violent as the movie was, you've got people getting wasted all over the place. But, they only really get turned into skeletons. There's no gore, there's no blood. It's a movie I was able to show my kids at a young age. It's a movie I was able to get into as a teenager, and without worrying about my parents walking in on me watching it or anything like that. I would hate to have to fast forward through parts of the movie if there's any nudity, anything like that in the film. It's just unnecessary, unneeded. I think you could tell a good, compelling, nail-biting, suspenseful sci-fi thriller story without the cursing, without the extreme, excessive gore and violence. I think a PG-13 rating obviously would also bring more people into the theaters. I think if Mars Attacks returns in film form, it has to do so in a big way, a way that's going to just fill the aisles and make people sit back and notice and say, okay, Mars Attacks is a thing. It's something people are interested in. So, no R ratings. We do not need to see, unless of course it's a direct sequel, which is possible considering they did one for ID4, but we do not need to see the return of characters established in the last movie. The Martian Spy Girl, of course, as I've already talked about several times, was established in the comic books before she appeared in the movie, but she's iconic from the movie. I think we don't need her. We don't need the Martian ambassador. We definitely don't need any of the human characters. Anything that's going to cement the new film in the old, I think would be a mistake. It has to stand on its own. All right, we don't need children coming and saving the day. And I know in the last movie, this only happened in a couple scenes. They didn't save the entire planet. But it's a common cliche and trope in these sort of things. You get these super kids who they're... Even when you go back and watch the original Jurassic Park, I was grown at the kids who are able to hack the computer systems and kick raptors with their gymnastic skills. Let's leave that out, shall we? All right. Now, a lot of the things I say we're going to need or should have will come from the card series, but not everything in the card series is gold. I do not think we need an ending where the Earthlings actually attack Mars directly. I don't think it really solved anything in the card series. It was kind of silly. I just don't see this working, so we can leave that out. Now, the things that we do need, the things I would like to see in a Mars Attacks film. One, we need a setting. I mean, this seems obvious. I would push for a period piece. I would love to see Mars Attacks based in the late 50s, early 60s era when the cards actually came out. I imagine a really fun, almost Destroy All Humans 1 kind of vibe could really work for Mars Attacks. And, you could set it in the modern time. I mean, the Martians are the Martians wherever they are. But I think the era of more paranoia, the birth of the sci-fi film as we know it today, and I just think the setting, the time would work perfect. What else do we need? We need the Martians to have their own unique look in the movie. Now, I love the Mars Attacks Martians from the film because they look identical to the ones from the cards. It was great to see that, just the trading cards come to life. However, in order to avoid confusion, in order to be your own film, I think the Martians have to have their own look. There are certain notes that have to be there. You have to have the skull face. You have to have the brain. You could tweak the costume. You could tweak the colors. There's a lot of things you could change while still being the same. And I think it would be wise of them to make the Martians identifiable at a glance as Martians, but still their own thing. One thing that the last film did really good is references to the original trading card series. If you knew the trading cards and you were watching the film, oh my god, it's that burning cattle card. They actually put that in the movie. That is so cool. All right, and if like most of us, you saw the film first and then found the cards, it was almost as good. Oh, look at this card! I remember that from the movie. And so they should definitely put direct nods to the cards, scenes in the movie that are taken directly from the cards. Preferably ones different than the first movie, so again, it could stand on its own 2 feet. Most Mars Attacks fans will agree with me on this one, I think. Giant insects. They've been a part of almost every aspect of Mars Attacks, from the trading cards, the original ones, in the 60s, through the comic books, through the more recent trading cards, through the miniature games. Giant insects. It's a staple of the Martians. It's part of their army. They mutate these bugs, and with the CGI technology we have today, there's no excuse, there's no reason not to have giant insects as part of the movie. Now, this is not something you necessarily need, but I'd like to see is life on Mars. Where is it these Martians come from? Okay, Mars, obviously. But what's life like there? Why are they leaving there to come here? Now, one of the things I enjoyed about the original movie is that we don't know why the Martians came. They're just jerks. They're just messing with us. Just doing it for the lulz, yo. But But I would love to see in a future film what life on Mars is actually like, and see how that compares to life on Earth. Now, I know that I'm the one who just said we don't need an R rating, but I do think we need a decent amount of bloodshed. And that's not to contradict myself. I think we can go for a hard PG-13 on this. But the Mars Attack series has never shied away from the gore, from the violence, um, and I think it would be a mistake to do so in a future film. When I reviewed the trading cards based off the movie, which was one of my earliest reviews, I said that comparing them to the rest of the trading cards in my binder, they do look very tame. They do look like Mars Attacks Light. And, I think there could be a compromise here. I think there should be a way to get some bloodshed into the film without pushing it into our territory. On a similar note, I do think we need some human experimentation. Again, something that runs constant through the films. Not the films, I'm sorry, through the comics, through the cards. Martians abduct humans, they do experiments on them, and that is something that was done in the movie and done well. Hopefully it'll be done in a new way, something we've never seen before, and just carry through on these Martians, what it is they're all about. I think we need us some damsels in distress. They've become unpopular these days. They're not PC. Anytime a woman is put in distress, you're accused of being sexist. But let's face it, Martians like them dames. And it's a part of the card series. It's a part of the comics, and I just think it'd be a shame not to have some damsels in distress running around. Giant robots, a plus, a must. The last film put some giant robots that were almost picture perfect. But there's been various forms of robots throughout the card. Even the original card series had 2 or 3 different styles of robots. This one here was not used in the movie with the rolling, spiked tank treads of doom. So I'd like to see some giant robots rearing their ugly mechanical heads. I'm not holding my breath for this one, but a dog getting itself blasted. I know we did see that in the last movie, but it is such an iconic image from the card series. I don't know. Some of the later card series, Mars Attacks: The Revenge, and even Occupation, they've shied away from destroying dogs, but again, I think it's an iconic image. I think it could be done in a new, interesting way. And last but not least, a sense of fun, a sense of humor. These Martians are not monsters. They're not Freddy Krueger from space. Okay, he was kind of funny too. They're not Jason Voorhees from space. Actually, they made that movie. They're not Michael Myers from space. Okay. These guys have a sense of humor. They have a sense of fun. They enjoy what they're doing, and because they enjoy what they're doing, we enjoy what they're doing. If the Martians are just coming and blowing things up and leaving like the Independence Day aliens, who cares? It could be any alien threat from any planet in any solar system. Now these are Martians. These are Mars Attacks Martians. They have a certain style. They have a certain panache, and it would be a shame if that got lost. It's one of the reasons why I'm hoping it's not an R-rated film. I think obviously you can have humor in an R-rated film, but I think a PG-13 would still work better for this sort of thing. If the Martians are cold, emotionless, personalityless, I lose interest very quickly. And so that's what I think we need to see in the next Mars Attacks movie, and what we need to leave out. But guys, as I said, I really, really want to hear your opinions on this one. So leave me some comments. Let me know what I said that you agree with, what you disagree with, what you would like to see in a Mars Attacks film, and if you think one is ever gonna be made. So this has been the Starving Martian. We'll catch up with you next time with another review. Until then, keep watching the skies.